4 parts that we're going to learn in this, what I call like a rhythmic lead. It's kind of like where lead guitar meets rhythm guitar. They kind of like meet in the middle somewhere and they come up with, well, what you just heard, and that's what we're going to go through. So let me play this out in the open real quick here, and then we'll break everything down. We'll break it down the 4 sections each, on their own. So part 1, I'm in standard tuning, by the way, most of you know that. Part 1, we're going to be on the D and the G strings. So let's talk about the notes, and I'll put the tabs up here when we play through this. I'll play it slower and I'll put the tabs up for you. But part 1, we're on the D and G strings, and this one note on the D string, okay, on the 9th fret, that's going to be your constant. So that's the beautiful thing about this rhythmic lead here. You've got these constant notes that sort of like kind of your anchor notes, if you will. But we're going to keep coming back to that note, to that one anchor note throughout each section. So your anchor note, we'll call it, right, again, D string, 9th fret. And then we're going to be picking the other notes on the G string, kind of going back and forth. Again, it's like a rhythmic pattern here. And those frets are going to be 9, 11, and 12. So I'll put the tabs up. Let's play through this part, just this part right here, a few times, so you can hear and watch the picking hand what I'm doing here. And again, the tabs are up there as well. That's it, okay? Normal speed, sort of like this. Okay, we play it through a couple times. And remember, you can always go back to the parts in the video, pause it, and just go through that, that little section there again. And we're going to go through the other sections the same way. Real quick, if you're part of the Jason Stallworth Guitar Academy, you have the tabs and backing tracks. You should have got a message or an email from me, so make sure that you go through those, download those. You guys know I give you the tabs, of course, but also 2 different tracks here. I give you one with the full mix with me playing the lead pattern or whatever it may be, but you also get one without the core part so that you can make up your own lead to that. And I encourage you to do that, right? I encourage you to learn what I'm sharing with you, but then start adding your own flavor to it. The next part, part 2, we're going to basically do the same thing. We're just changing the position on the fretboard here, okay? So we're going to come up from the 9th fret to the 12th fret. Now, the D string 12th fret, that's going to be what I'm calling our little anchor note, meaning we're going back to that each time. The other notes that will shift will be on the G string in this case, which are going to be 12, 14, and 16. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to put the tabs up. Let's play through that. Now, before we go to section 3, I want us to piece those first 2 together, and I'll throw up the tabs again for both parts, parts 1 and 2, and let's just go through those slowly, okay? I'm going to go through these a couple of times with you. Now, one quick thing before we move to the 3rd section here. You notice in between there, I palm mute that 9th fret on the D string before going up to 12. So listen to this one more time. So you saw what I did there. I go back to the 9th fret before I go to the 12th fret, and I kind of slide up. It's like a quick little transition. So what I suggest in that part is don't overthink it. Just play through it and just try not to get hung up on that part. I know easier said than done sometimes, but hopefully that makes sense. But again, you know, when you go back to that anchor note, the 9th fret on the D string, then you have to kind of quickly go to the 12th fret there. Again, hopefully that makes sense. Moving on to section 3 here. So this is what section 3 sounds like. Okay, so now we're shifting over a string, so we are on the A and the D strings here. This can be a little awkward because the finger positioning, it's almost like you're playing a G chord, but then, you know, you've got that other note you got to play right there. Okay, so we are on the 10th fret of the A string, 9th fret of the G string. So your anchor note, the one or our constant here, that's the 10th fret of the A string. The other notes, okay, on the D string here are going to be 9, 10, and 12. So you can see that finger position, a little awkward there. And I didn't mean to write it that way. Just kind of, that's what I heard in my head. So, okay. And it might be an easier way to play that, but that's just the way I play it. So, in any case, let's run through this. I'll put the tabs up here. We'll run through this a couple of times. Now, before we go into the final section here, we're going to run through the entire thing. So let's go through that together. Now, remember, we talked about the transition going between one section to another. So kind of, we'll run through that one more time, but pay attention to kind of how I do that from here to here. I kind of just do a quick, you know, slide up. And things get a little nuancy, if you will. I always use the term nuances because we all have them in our playing and just the way we do things, right? You have your personal style, your own unique style. I want you to always remember that, all right? So you'll have these little nuances, these little things that you do to transition from one piece to another. And I kind of want you to lean on that, right? Don't always have to play exactly what this person over here, or even myself, or what we're playing. Sure, learn it, but just be creative with your own little nuances and just kind of like create your own path, you know, at times like that when there's these little transitions. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go through that one more time, and then we'll go through the 4th section and we'll play it all the way through, okay? The final section here, like the Europe song, the final countdown. So we're going to remain on the A and the D strings here, but our notes are going to be basically the same that we played on the D and G strings. We're just one string over. So okay, so easy enough. Again, we're on the 12th fret A string, and that's the 12th fret on the A strings are a little anchor note or constant there. The other frets on the D string, 12, 14, 16. So let's play through that a few times. I'll put the tabs up for you. Again, that last part's easy because we're just replicating what we did earlier on the second section, okay, just one string up. Now, let's run through that entire thing. I've got one more thing to show you, though. There's something I did on the very tail end of that the second time around. Pretty simple lick, but we'll go through that. So let's play through this together, okay? Now, the second time around when I do that, I'm actually playing something just a little different. So instead of ending on this, I end here. So let me play this all the way through. This is like the second time around doing this whole thing, so you can hear it in context. Okay, so pretty simple. We're going back to the D and the G strings here. We're on the 12th fret, and we're just doing a little... Okay, and instead of calling out the frets, let me just throw the tabs up here. I mean, we're kind of in the same little area here. 12 and 12 on the D and the G strings. We've got the 14th fret on the G string involved, and we're doing that little bend, a little kind of bluesy little lick, and then we're going to slide up. So I'll put the tabs up here. It's much easier probably just to see that and watch what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do though, I'm gonna start on the third section and go into that so you hear it in context, okay? Now, one thing that I mentioned on the last lesson that we did, and that was actually for the same song. We'll talk about that in a second. But you'll notice sometimes I'll tuck my pick up under my third finger like that, and I'll use these two fingers to mute the surrounding strings so I don't get string noise. See how I did that? I just whip it right up under my finger there. You know, a little trick, I guess. Hey, you see the pick, and now you don't. Well, you do. There it is. Yeah. Anyway, and I'll use these two fingers to mute the surrounding strings. So while I've got the little vibrato going on that 16th fret of the G string, I am muting the surrounding strings, the D and the B string, with these two fingers. So again, that song is called Walk With Me. It's on my latest album, Overcometh. It's actually the first track. It's a really cool little instrumental track. I think if you haven't heard it yet, check it out. I think you might enjoy that. But also the last lesson that we did, that was on one of the beginning lead sections to that song. Very simple melodic solo there. Really not even a solo, what I call just a lead, if you will, right? And these types of leads, and this is more rhythmic, these types of leads, we're in our guitar chat now, by the way, really support the song as a whole. You know, I've got a solo that comes into that song later, you know, kind of an all-out, just a lot of single notes, but a lot of the other stuff, a lot of the other lead parts in that song are just, I don't want to call them patterns because that sounds very still, but they're just these rhythmic leads. They're the leads to the song, if that makes sense. I love stuff like this because, again, it combines the rhythm and leads together. So I was really excited to show you this lesson here and share this with you because I think you can take this concept. You know, we're playing on two strings, going back and forth, so that's a technique all in itself, right? And if you don't practice that a lot, that might be something you get hung up on. But I would encourage you to integrate some of this style into your own solos. It's good when you're getting like, okay, well, I keep playing the same licks over and over again. Well, we'll try this. Maybe you're, you know, doing the typical kind of metal meets bluesy type. But what if you went... And we're just, you know, we're making stuff up. It's like we're sitting in the studio here together. Hey, make something up. Now you make something up. We're just kind of trading licks here, right? But just kind of venture outside just the typical single note stuff. Now, again, if you're part of my Guitar Academy, the Jason Stallworth Guitar Academy, it's a brand new platform I just started. So if you're part of that, you've got the tabs and backing tracks, and actually you've got all of 2024 too, by the way. I hope you're enjoying those. With my Academy, guys, real quick, so I give you access to really everything. I have combined this all together to have everything that I offer in one convenient place. This means you get access to my monthly lessons that we do here, the tabs and the tracks. You also get access to all of my courses. I've got Metal Guitar Apprentice. That's perfect for beginners or revisiting the basics. Also Metal Riff Masters on that platform. I also have a lead course coming out the end of this year, the end of 2024. And of course, I've got some more good stuff coming down the pipeline. So you'll get immediate access to all that stuff. And it's very affordable, guys. It's at a super low price. So it's accessible to most anybody. So check that out. I have a link in the description of this video. If you enjoy my YouTube videos and if you've taken any of my courses, I think you'll love this. One thing I'll say, if you've purchased a course from me in the past, I know I just made this big change, please reach out to me first, okay? Or just send me an email or something like that. Say, hey, I bought your course, but I didn't get the email to access my courses on the new platform. Let me know. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, a little bit different style here. By the way, if you didn't catch the last lesson on the same song, the melodic solo, a very simple solo, but I show you how to branch out and kind of make it your own at the end. Check that out up there. If you missed my latest, mastering a certain key, I think A minor was the last one. Well, check that out. I'll put that up there for you. That's helped a lot of people. Guys, thank you for all the support. Keep it metal and keep playing music.